This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to the show we call Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like Bill Gates smacks the truth out of himself. We're going to talk about Bill Gates. We're going to talk about Windows, lots of Windows news today, lots of Microsoft news, that is. We're also going to talk about Lego, about patents, and, of course, the big issue. Found out about this thing called revenge porn, and is it legal? And how far is too far for somebody to post pictures of somebody else after they've taken pictures on their cell phone? That's the topic today. We're going to talk about that. First of all, we're brought to you by our friends over at Dine.com and over at Zag, where if you use Geekazine, you get 20% off. And of course, Podcast 30 over at Dine.com for 30% off. Let's get into your Geek Smack for this week. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like we smack Lego X-Wing fighters, and we're going to do a lot of that. We've got a lot of great geek news, a lot of great tech news, and we got a lot of great news for you. This is actually technically the 2.3rd time I've done this show. Everything that went wrong today went wrong today. iPad 365, I realized that when I encoded everything, it encoded wrong. For some reason, my thermostat's not working, so it's not kicking in the heat. And then, of course, I do the show because I need to get the show done and I'll tell you why in a second here. But then I went to listen to it, and it was clipping all over the place. So I looked over at my mixing board, and I noticed, wow, that knob shouldn't have been all the way over there like that. So here we are, once again, doing another episode of Geek Smack. Episode number 253, second time for me. First time for you, hopefully, unless you want to watch it a second time or a third time or a fourth time. You're more than welcome to. Just keep on listening, keep on watching. Tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, tell your friends' friends' dog. Tell everybody that it's over at Geekazine.com. This is the first time that you've come to the show. Thank you very, very much. We do have a lot of stuff here. Subscribe in the show notes. Just go over to Geekazine.com, click on the RSS feed, subscribe to the RSS feed, and you'll get information. You'll know what's going on, where to go, and what to do. Subscribe on iTunes. Subscribe wherever you need to, and we'll go from there. So, anyway, this week, hey, the reason why I wanted to get this all done is because in the next 24 hours, I got to finish all of my shows for the next few days. And then this room is actually getting tore down. Reason why is because we're having a friend stay over. And I need to set up a bed. I don't want them to sleep on the couch. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If I can set up a bed for somebody, I'm going to set up a bed for somebody so they can actually get some sleep. So anyway, I'm going to clean up this room. It definitely needs it. I mean, yeah, you're not looking at it, but I'm looking at the mess all around from all these boxes and products and stuff like that I've been testing. And it's time to clean it up. So I'm going to clean it up and rearrange it. Plus, I'm going to also make some plans to turn some things around because I'm actually going to get a new desk from the folks over at OmniMount. Now, they're going to be bringing me a sit-stand desk. Now, before I had my desktop over there, and of course, the Geek Bar and the Geek Stand. The Geek Bar is going to get torn down and taken downstairs, and we're going to replace it with the sit-stand desk. My computer is going to be over here. Everything is going to be over here. So, one, I've got to keep that new desktop clean. And if you look at my desktop right now, not so much. So anyway, and so the other thing I'm going to do is technically, you don't know the orientation of the room, but I will actually be presenting this way with the new desk. The new desk will be this way. We'll have the cameras pointing this way and go from here. So these pictures will be behind me. I might even bring a bookshelf up and put books up so it looks like I read books. So anyway, we're having a lot of fun. Also, you're doing a lot of rearranging. We're also rearranging the inside Geekazine, which I'm going from Geekazine WordPress installation to multi-site. I had the opportunity to use multi-user years ago, and I didn't like the way that it worked. There were a lot of security issues that were not addressed, and I decided not to go that way. And I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Chris Perillo's blog, who also had multi-user on there, actually got hacked into, and a lot of his content was taken down. So I stayed separate whenever I needed a new WordPress site like Dorkazine or Sportazine or something like that. I would always create a separate website. Well, now I'm feeling very confident about the security in WordPress multi-site, and I am bringing some of the stuff over. Dorkazine's already part of the multi-site. You shouldn't notice a difference, but if you do, just let me know, and go from there. So, all right, one more thing here. Actually, two more things. First of all, the Summer of Podcasts. If you are a podcaster, check it out over at summerofpodcasts.com. It's not up yet. It's another multi-site part that I've got to put back together. But basically, I'm running a contest. I ran it a couple years ago. We got podcasters together. Each podcaster got a code and a week to display their code. The people had 14 days to put in that code. Like, for instance, if I was in week 1 and I got code 1, I would then promote to you, go over to summerofpodcast.com, enter in your name, your email address, and my code 1. And that would get you to, you could do that for 14 days after June 15th. So it'd be June 15th through the 29th. And then, so basically the contest runs from June 15th to August 15th. And then at the end of the August, which end of summer, we then draw for all these prizes. And we had a ton of prizes last time. So if you're a podcaster, check it out. Go over to summerofpodcast.com. We got a Google document that you can sign up, a form that says that you'll be part of it, and go from there. One more thing, and we'll get you into your tech news and your geek news and your other news, and that is March over at How to Record Podcasts, one of my other websites. We're doing 31 days of better podcasting. So if you are a podcaster and you want to improve on your podcasts, this is the way to do it. Every day I'll give you a new idea, a new thought. If you want to participate on it, you just email me or Twitter me and say, hey, no, we should talk about this. I'll actually wipe out one of the days, whatever I was going to talk about, and we'll put your stuff in there. So this is about you and becoming a better podcaster, and that's the important thing. And of course, that's over at howtorecordpodcast.com. You can go over there and check it out. All right, that's it for this, that, and the other thing. Let's get into your tech news for this smacky week. And, we got to reset that up. Of course, this part is brought to you by our friends over at Dyn.com, where you want a faster internet, don't you? You don't want bottlenecks from traffic spikes. You don't want people not getting to websites or anything like that. Uptime is the most important thing for anybody. I want to get there, and I want to see what I want to see, and then I want to move on. That's where Dyn.com comes in. With outsourced DNS, you can make sure people can get to websites, or you can get to websites just like those big boys. Companies like Twitter, Zappos, Netflix, and more use Dyn to keep their services up and traffic from not bottlenecking. And with their enterprise-level DNS, you get great features like global traffic management, load balancing, and active failover, which they do for over 4 million customers. Another great advantage of Dyn is you can actually move your high-volume email off of your website onto Dyn's email solution to get your message to clients and customers with secure mail, bulk email, and high-volume mailbox service. It's simple. Get faster internet by using Dyn for DNS. They have a ton more stuff. We could talk about IPv6. We could talk about managed DNS, so on and so forth. Just visit dyn.com/podcast30. That's dyn.com/podcast30, and then fill out the form. Or if you're over on dyn.com and you want to check out, just remember that code podcast30, and that's going to get you 30% off whatever great low prices there are. So check it out. Once again, go over to dyn.com/podcast30. All right, let's get into the Tech Smack for today. We're going to start over, today on second time for me. And we're going to start over at broadcastengineering.com. 500,000 Ultra HD televisions are to ship this year. And that's a survey by NPD Display Search. They call it the Quarterly TV Design and Feature Report. And they're talking about 4K, they're talking about 2K screen sizes, and of course, 1920 by 1080. So basically, that's kind of 2K, and then 4K That's the amount of pixels in a screen. So your Retina display on your iPad and on your MacBook, I don't is not 4K. It's like something like 3,500 pixels or something like that. 4,000 pixels is 4K. So what they're expecting is by the end of next year, we will have about 500,000 4K televisions in homes or in businesses or anything like that. You want a high quality sound, and of course, we've got Blu-ray players and we've got high definition internet video through companies like Vimeo that excel on that. And then, of course, you're recording on better equipment every single day. I mean, I remember my first iPhone, the 3GS. The camera is completely different on the 5. It's amazing what kind of video I can get off of that. So I want to show it off, and I don't want to show it off on a small laptop screen with no real display other than 1080p. So I'm gonna go 4K. And within the next 4 years, we'll probably see about at least 1/4 of the United States with 4K. Maybe even gearing up to maybe 8K or something like that. I don't know, whatever their next level will be from there. If you want to read more on that, go over to broadcastengineering.com. Of course, we got all the links in the show notes. Let's go over to geekazine.com and subscribe to those show notes. And of course, you can also Twitter me over on Geekazine if you have any questions or comments or anything like that. Twitter at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. We also have the hotline at 608-205-4378. All right, have you heard about Windows Blue? Windows Blue is basically an update, and now they're planning for the desktop and for the phone. This is over on TheVerge.com. Now, there's some good points and bad points about this. This is where the next generation of operating system, where Windows wants to go, their OS update. It'll put the platform on low cost machines. But here's the problem: it's a yearly update schedule. So they're planning to launch it later this year. And the problem with this is with Blue, you're going to have a yearly price. So you pay whatever $100 this year, and then you got to pay $100 next year. Just like you would your antivirus. You're paying $30, $40, $50 for antivirus. You got to remember, in a year, you're going to have to pay another $30, $40, $50. A lot of people that I know of don't pay or forget to pay or whatnot, but they don't end up paying for their antivirus. And then they wonder why their antivirus is not working. And then when you say, well, yeah, you got to pay the yearly fee, they go, I can't. Really? Isn't there something free? And I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing with this. I don't know. It's I don't know if this is a good way to go with Microsoft, with Windows, but it could be something, for an enterprise level or something like that. They're paying for it anyway. So this would be something where Windows could continually update, and they could have some hold on that, so you can have the latest and greatest on your phone, on your desktop. Check it out. Go over to TheVerge.com. Let me know what you think. Will you get Microsoft Blue? Will you stick with your Windows 8, or will you or whatever operating system you have right now? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. All right, let's move from there. We're going over to ubergizmo.com. And things are going a little bit slow on the laptop the second time around. Hey, for all you Lego geeks out there, this is really cool. This they're doing a thing, Star Wars versus Star Trek, over at Ubergizmo, and today what they're doing is they're doing a Lego X-wing fighter. It took about 1,558 pieces, and there's even a little R2D2 unit there that you can use. And I don't know. I'm guessing that it'll fit into the X-wing fighter and go from there. Of course, I would probably end up gluing that together because that's the weird sadist, Lego sadist that I am, I guess you could call it. Some people are very religious about whether you glue or you don't glue Legos together. And I would probably do it simply because of the fact that this would then be a piece of art that I'd probably put up here for you guys to see. So if you want to check that all out, go over to ubergizmo.com. Let's move on from there. Looks like we have a broken page. Let's refresh that. That's over at allthingsd.com. This is all about Bill Gates. Now, Bill Gates sat down in a CBS interview on CBS this morning. And of course, last week we talked about how Bill Gates talked about how he wished that WinFS, the file system that came out with Vista, would have actually been cultivated. Well, now he's out in the video and he's kind of, I don't know if he's throwing blame. It sounds like he's doing a lot of blame throwing on him more than over Steve Ballmer. And a lot of people hate Steve Ballmer. They don't like the way that he's taking the direction of the company. But Bill Gates admits there's a lot of things that he could have done that could have put Microsoft on top for things like phone. I mean, they had a smartphone long before Apple came out with a smartphone. I loved my HTC 8125, which was a Windows, I think Windows 4 smartphone. And of course, they had the stylus and everything like that. It was a great thing because I could get my email. I could get programs on it. I could get Word documents. The screen was a little bit small, but that was technology back then. And it wasn't, we didn't have Retina displays back then, but now we do. And Apple's been killing it on the smartphone market. And of course, Microsoft says, what can you do? So there was a lot of back and forth. You can read the whole thing here, make your own decisions, whether Bill Gates is blaming himself or blaming Steve Ballmer or blaming you or blaming me. You can put the blame on me. Back in Windows 95, I took that one call where I didn't document it that well, and that started the whole ball rolling. The little butterfly effect, I guess you could say. And you're going, wait a minute, you worked at Microsoft? Yeah, technically, I was on their support team, actually a contracted company support team. So I did Windows 95, and I learned a lot about my technology knowledge from there, grew from at that point. So, but if you want to check it out, go over to allthingsd.com about Bill Gates and send the lashing himself, I guess they call it. So let's move from there. Let's go over to techcrunch.com. Now, if you probably heard about this earlier last week, Posterous, which is a social network, said we're pretty much rolling it up on April 30th. You got to get your stuff off. We're closing shop. No new Posterous accounts. We're closing shop, which is sad. I mean, Posterous has been around for years, and we saw it was part of the social network group. I mean, if you go to Wikipedia, you can actually see the list of all the social networks, and there's a ton of them. And we've seen a few of them already close in the last 6 months. The one before that was the video site, and the name is escaping me right now. But the whole point is that we're seeing some of these social networks starting to fold. And now here's where it comes in. You put a lot of work into these social networks, and you want all your data, all your information is there. Your pictures are there, and you don't want to lose it. Well, Tumblr has decided we want to help out anybody with Posterous. So what they did was they created a file. Somebody created a file or a program called Just Migrate. Now, Just Migrate is going to allow you to actually migrate your Posterous information into Tumblr. Now, unfortunately, there's a couple caveats on this. First of all, it's not free. It's only free for small accounts, anything with 100 posts. But if you have 250 posts, it's going to cost you $10. 500 posts is going to cost you $25. I'm assuming if you've got more than that, then you're going to have to pay to get all those posts over there. Now, here's the other thing. Tumblr's API does not allow more than 250 posts or 75 photos, which means that this program, this Just Migrate program, is going to be a scheduling program as well. So it'll push up 250 posts on the first day, 250 posts on the second day, so on and so forth, until all your posts are up there. So it's a service brought to you by 3Crumbs, and it's the ability to transfer everything over to Tumblr. So I think if you're using Posterous, first of all, let me know if you are using Posterous by twittering me over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. And then then tell me how this migration, if you're going to do the migration or whatnot, and how it goes for you. In the meantime, check out TechCrunch for that information. Let's move on from there. We're going to go over to Ars Technica. Now, we're going to talk, like I said, we're talking about this revenge porn, but this is a little bit different from that. Imagine yourself going to a webcam sex thing. She opens the curtain, she starts taking off her clothing and stuff like that. All of a sudden, she stops and she says, I want you to be part of this too. So I'd like you to start taking off your clothes. And you're going, well, maybe that'll advance the whole this whole conversation, this whole engagement back and forth. So what they're gonna do, what the guy does is they start taking off the clothes, and she starts telling him, "Oh, do this, do that, whatever." And then next thing you know, he's doing that, and they're having a great time, and nothing of it. Then afterwards, he gets a call from somebody, or he gets a letter from somebody saying that we now have you on video doing this, and if you want people to not see this video, not see these pictures, you're gonna have to pay up. And that's what this is all about. Like I said, this is over on Ars Technica. Looks like my antivirus just updated. Speaking of antivirus, let me close that out really quick. All right. So basically, what they're doing is, over in Singapore, the police, there's a lot of reports saying there are at least 50 reported cases where foreign women lured men into those social networks and tagged them, did these sex sessions, and then they got a intimate cyber sex event, and then of course they got blackmailed because now they have video, because a camera can work both ways. With a program like what I got, what I can do is I could actually have a screen going, and I do this all the time. I record Skype sessions and stuff like that, interviews and other things. Nothing dirty or anything like that, but I record stuff, interviews and stuff like that, and I throw it on here, and I have the different boxes so I can put it up on YouTube so you guys can see the interviews that I do, the information that I give. So they do that, and now they're doing that instead of showing the girl's face. You just see the guy getting naked and doing whatever he's doing, and you don't know what's going on in the background, and so on and so forth. There's a video. Now it's getting blackmailed. So be careful. Go to sites. Go to people that I guess if you decide that you want to do this, go to sites that you want to do it. But can you believe how these people are trying to get you in different ways? It's crazy. So like I said, the only advice I have is go to trusted sites. And I know in situations like that, trusted sites might get a little confusing, but if just go research the site before you go and be part of it, because the last thing you need is somebody trying to blackmail you. So check it out over at arstechnica.com. All right, let's move on here. Let's go over to one of my websites, Dorkazine. Let's check this out. Burger King, apparently their Twitter got hacked yesterday about 9 o'clock in the morning. The the hacker, ended up turning everything into a McDonald's site. And then basically they came out with a tweet and said, "Hey, we're now McDonald's. McDonald's just bought us." And everybody was going, "What? That's crazy." No, they didn't. And then, of course, the hackers started sending us to YouTube channels of some rapper and some other things. And of course, the hacker, which I have here, his name was Yuji Nazi. Basically, for an hour, an hour and then some, basically posted posts up on there with McDonald's Twitter, with a little McDonald's icon saying Burger King, and then Twitter after about an hour and 20 minutes or something like that, took down the site. Came back up at about 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern last night. But what was really interesting was the first tweet, and two things that happened. Now, first of all, what I did, we'll bring you over to the website here. I saw that, and of course I was reporting on it, so I decided, well, I better follow this page so I can see what's going on, so you see the tweets and so on and so forth. And so I did that, and then next thing I know, once the site went down, came back up at about 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and then next thing you know, they had about 5,000 to 7,000 new Twitter followers. And they probably got some more Twitter followers after this whole debacle happened. In fact, their first post came up, and it went like this: "Interesting day here at Burger King, but we're back. Welcome to our new followers. Hope you all stick around." Well, that's great, because I think that it's not a great way to get new followers by any means, by getting hacked. And the big thing here is that, they might have 5,000 to 7,000 followers, but I was actually looking at their Twitter profile, and it was basically, come in, try a Whopper, come in, try this, come in, we got this deal going, so on and so forth. There was never really engagement. So now that they got 5 to 7 or 10, whatever their new number is now, they were at 84,000 last time I checked. Now that they got this new number, they should make a new plan. And if the person that's running this Twitter account is not making that plan, then Burger King really needs to think about this and get somebody in there to really keep those 5 to 7,000 Twitter followers, because not too many people get a bump like that in Twitter, with all these people that are looking to see what's going on. So take advantage. My advice to Burger King: take advantage. And if you don't have the right person that's taking advantage of your Twitter, you can give me a call, 608-205-4378, and I'll help you. Geekazine Twitter handle is mine, or geekazine@gmail.com. And work with those 5 to 7,000 people and increase your social profile there. I'm just saying. So if you want to read more, go over to dorkazine.com. Let's move on from there. Let's go over to cnet.com. China is topping the United States as the world's largest smart device market. Now, up until last year, they were very close. The US was at 221 million and China was at 220 million. So we knew it was going to happen, but we didn't realize how fast it surpassed. You look at this, I mean, that is a very interesting line, whereas the blue is the United States, the red is China. And by the end of this month, they will be at 246 million active devices. This is anything that's on 3G, 4G, Android devices, iOS devices. I'm assuming BlackBerry's in there, and all these other smart devices are in there. So the United States is at 230 million. China's at 246 million. Now, I have a feeling by this time next year, by the way this graph goes, they'll definitely be surpassing us unless we make a turn or something comes out that we just got to have. Like, for instance, the rumor of the Apple Watch coming out. Now, that might, if it's like a $50 thing, a $50 adapter, maybe you'll switch to that watch, and the next thing you know, you've got 3G on or 4G on your watch, and next thing you know, we're surpassing China, or China's got the watches too. So it's a back and forth. And the other question I have on this is, out of the active devices, how many of these devices are knockoff devices, such as a fake iPhone or a fake Android device? Because a lot of that stuff does come from China. So we'll see what happens, and maybe we'll report on this next year, and we'll see how far China goes at that point. So anyway, you check that out. Go over to cnet.com. Moving on from there, we're going over to Bloomberg. Best Buy has changed, during the holiday season. They do the price match thing, where, if you see it over on Amazon.com, they'll price match it. Well, now Best Buy has decided we need to win back our clients. And so they created their permanent price matching policy. So you don't do what's called showrooming. Showrooming is, you go to Best Buy, you look at it, you say, oh, that's a really nice laptop. I wonder what it's like over on Amazon.com. Oh, it's a lot cheaper over on Amazon. I'm just going to get there. That's showrooming. So now you can go, okay, that's a nice laptop. What's it like over on Amazon? Oh, that's nice. Here, that's the price over on Amazon.com. I want that price. So you got that option now, which is really cool. Target already did that. So now Best Buy is doing that. We'll see how that works there. Hopefully it won't close any big box stores, because I still think we need big box stores around. I need somewhere to walk around for an hour and see what I don't have just yet. So if you want to read more on that, go over to Bloomberg.com. Pretty cool stuff. Congratulations to Best Buy. It's a good step forward. Let's move from there. Let's go over to music.aol.com. Last article of the first part here. And Mariah Carey, of course, she's one of the Idol judges, and she actually wrote a song for Oz, the Great and Powerful, which is the movie coming out. She wrote a song called Almost Home. We've got that track on. It's on SoundCloud, so AOL. We got the link over at AOL.com. All you have to do is click on it down there. I'm not going to play it because of copyright issues, so on and so forth. But it sounds pretty good. It's not something I would have on my iPod. It's not the music I listen to. I'm a classic rock person mostly, but I enjoyed what I listened to. I think it'll be great for the movie, and should have a lot of fun with it. So if you want to check it out, go over to music.aol.com. And that does it for this part of Geek Smack. We're going to get into part 2, where we're going to talk a little bit more geek, a little bit more tech, and then, of course, we're going to talk about this revenge porn and how, your pictures could all of a sudden end up on somebody's website, and they're going to ask for money to take it down. We're going to do that next, so stick around. And of course, this part of Geek Smack is brought to you by our friends over at Zag. Go over to geekazine.com/Zag. That's geekazine.com/ZAGG. They have a lot of great stuff, including, I have the folio case with the Bluetooth keyboard. Awesome stuff. They've got them 50% off. 50% off select folio cases right now. And all you have to do is go over there. Go over to geekazine.com/Zag. So, of course, I get credit and I can keep my lights on and stuff like that. Otherwise, you want to get an additional 20% off certain items. Check it out. Like, for instance, this right here is the Zag Spark. That's that device that you can actually plug your smartphone or tablet into and charge it up if you don't have a wall plug. You can get 20% off of that by using the code Geekazine. All right, let's get back into your news for today. We're going to go over at telegraph.co.uk. And Google... It's slowly loading up. There we go. Google is looking to cut funds to illegal sites. Now, this is actually pretty cool. There's a lot of knockoff sites selling fake software, selling fake items and stuff like that. And they want to make sure that, they don't have a Visa or MasterCard area. They don't have a PayPal area. And they're working with these credit card companies to help with this. Now, this all started back with WikiLeaks and Julius Assange, and of course, people were giving money to WikiLeaks, and they don't want people giving money to somebody that's actually could harm a certain person or anything like that. In this case, it's all about trademarks. It's all about licensing. It's all about software and possibly more than just software. Maybe the fake Gucci's and stuff like that. So if you shut off the finance to the websites popular in even book publishing or software, film, television, you can try and control the piracy that way. And then there's no reason to pirate because there's no money to be made out of that. At least that's the theory. There's always going to be workarounds and ways around it. So right now, Google's working with Visa, MasterCard, PayPal. There's other services that people can go to and get that same thing. You can even wire money from one person to another. I don't know if I'd do that for a website, but to get a legal whatever, I don't think I'd do that. But if you want to read more on that, go over to the telegraph.co.uk. All right, let's move from here. Let's go over to rollingstone.com. For all you Star Wars freaks and geeks and stuff like that, here's the big news of the day. Mr. Harrison Ford is going to reprise his Han Solo role in the new Star Wars film, Star Wars Episode 7. Now, they didn't say if it's going to be a cameo role. They didn't say if he's going to be part of it, if he's going to do like, J.J. Abrams is doing the movies, so maybe Han Solo goes through the wormhole to the younger selves and rewrites history, and then we have a whole new timeline of Star Wars. It's very possible. But I'm guessing that Harrison Ford, if he just takes a cameo role, he does it so, when the Han Solo movie comes out, he gets to play a role in that. And the cool thing is, you could have something where Han Solo's sitting at a table with a whole bunch of other cowboys and renegades and talking about his life travels and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, here's young Han Solo running through space and time, and well, not time, but space, and doing all these adventures. So it's a good foothold for Harrison Ford. But this is some great news that we know that the old cast is going to start getting worked on. It's actually a vision. I remember when George Lucas first talked about it in the first film back in the 70s. And he said, yeah, I'm going to do the first 3, and then I'm going to do the prequel, and then I'm going to do post, because at that point, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford will look old enough we won't have to put makeup on them. And that's perfect. And I think this is the perfect time, and he's in the right shape to do that, so let's do it. Go over to rollingstone.com if you want to check out more on that. Going back over to cnet.com, Microsoft has quietly raised the prices of Office by Mac by 17%. This is exactly what I was talking about with Microsoft. You know, why do they do stuff like this? This doesn't make any sense for me. They also stopped selling the multi-license, which I kind of understand that because you can get a discount for the prices. But I would with Google Docs being out there, I could see a lot of people switching over there. I have a Mac right here. I don't have Office on there. I have Office on my laptop. I have Office on my desktop. I do have a Windows partition on here I never go to. But on that Windows partition, I do have Office. So if I absolutely need to do it, I'll flip over. But I don't need to do it. I got Google Docs. I got all the programs to create presentations, spreadsheets, import Word documents, rework Word documents, so on and so forth. So I think that either Microsoft wants to get out of the Office for Mac business, or maybe I don't know, maybe they just don't want to do it. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I would have lowered the price of it by 17%, still gotten rid of the multi-license package, and you could have still made a lot of money. And everybody would have said, oh, wow, it's 17% less. I'm going to go buy it right now. Hello? Anyway, if you want to check it out, go over to cnet.com. I think it's a stupid move, so maybe they're phasing it out. Maybe they just don't see the reason to have Office for Mac out there anymore. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. Let's head over to the Washington Post. Now, this is really weird, but apparently people in San Francisco have been getting sick. In fact, 46% since 2007, more. And there's one reason why, and that is because in 2007, they banned plastic bags. Now, I was out in San Francisco, and I see why they banned plastic bags. They were all over the place. And so now it's a lot cleaner, and there's no problems. And I guess everybody's either using paper bags or they're bringing in their own bags. That's where the problem comes in. At least that's what they're deducing. Now, what they're saying is everybody, what they do is they take their bags and they pull the groceries out, then they fold them up and they put them back into their bag, which I do myself, which is a bag that holds all my grocery bags, which I end up forgetting to take out and take into the grocery store anyway. But if those bags are wet, maybe some, frozen peas or something like that sitting in the bottom, you pull them out, the bag's still wet, you instantly fold it up, put it in the bag, it sits there and grows bacteria. And then, of course, you take that bag out, you go back to the grocery store, what's the first thing you do? You grab the cucumber or the lettuce or the carrots from the produce area and put them right in that same bag. So what they're suggesting is that you clean out your bags. If your bags are wet, dry them out, spray them down, dry them out. You could still have those Trader Joe whole food bags that you can proudly show off to all your family and friends to say, hey, I go to Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. But clean them out because they could be getting you sick. Or you could even line them. Now, this is another option. You could take a plastic bag and line your bag with the plastic bag. I know it's a little bit redundant. There's a possibility there, except in San Francisco, which you don't have that. Or you could take a paper bag and go from there. But there's many different ways. The big thing is be conscious of your bags, clean out your bags, especially if you have produce in there and stuff like that. And I would even put produce into separate bags themselves, because that's what I do. We still have plastic bags, so I can actually put my salad, my produce, my onions and stuff like that. I always do that, put those in separate bags. So if you want to check out more on that, go over to WashingtonPost.com. Let's move on from there. We're going over to DigitalJournal.com. Red cameras, they're actually pretty cool. Red cameras, I remember seeing them for the first time over at CES. They're very modular, and they can go up to 4,000 pixels or 4K. And they're high definition cameras, mostly for the movie buff, to make those really, really high definition movies and stuff like that. Well, apparently Sony came out with 4 new models of video cameras, the F65, F55, and the F5. And they use Red's patented technology. And apparently they didn't have the proper licensing for that. So Red decided, okay, we're going to have to do something on that. So they ended up turning around. They sued Sony for patent infringement. So this could settle out, then they might go, oh yeah, well, we made a mistake. We apologize. Here's your check. Let's get on the right licensing deal and go from there. So the lawsuit is put out there, but most of the time, when a lawsuit happens, they've already gone through that little part and saying, okay, these are our patents, and they say, no, we've given you enough money. I don't think we need to worry about that, or we've got the proper licensing or something like that. So they're going for a lawsuit. Sony Red claims loss of sales, reduced business and profit, and the general reputation. So the three patents are video camera, basically video camera and method and system for turning an antenna. So turning an antenna, it kind of sounds like one of those silly patents, but I am not exactly sure what they're talking about there. But if you want to read more on that, go over to digitaljournal.com. Cool. I wish I could get myself a Red camera, and I really hope that Sony actually works it all out with Red camera, because I have a Sony camera. That's what you're seeing me do this with, is a Sony camera right now. And this is perfect for the podcaster like myself when I go out there and do interviews and stuff like that. So I don't want to see Sony cameras go away anytime soon. Especially, this is a small consumer camera. And of course, you have the more professional grade cameras with the 3 sensors. I don't want to see those go away either. So hopefully they'll get that all worked out and go from there, because a Red camera is just way out of my price range. That's the bottom line. So check it out, digitaljournal.com. All right, let's move on from there. Let's go over to bgr.com. Folks in San Francisco, we were just talking about San Francisco, New York, and of course DC and a couple other areas are going to be getting LTE from Sprint. So congratulations on there. Still waiting. I got the Optimus LG, or I'm sorry, the LG Optimus G phone, which I'm still reviewing, playing a lot of cool programs on that. And but the problem is I'm not in a true LTE Sprint network. It's still using 3G, which was okay until my iPhone updated to iOS 6.1. And when that happened, we got LTE here. I guess the algorithm wasn't in the phone or something like that. And it was a night and day transformation by that one update. And in fact, I had a friend who has AT&T DSL, and the first thing he said is, I'm thinking about getting rid of my AT&T DSL because my phone's faster than my DSL. And he's also got an iPad with 4G. So, hey, that's great. But if you're AT&T, you might want to think, it's LTE is faster than us. There's something wrong. I use Charter myself. I get 30 megabytes down, 5 megabytes up, and I can't be any more happy. Well, unless I had like FiOS or something like that. But for what I've got, it does a great job. So anyway, let's move from there. Go over to bgr.com. If you're in New York, DC, San Francisco, good job, and check it out. Let me know what your LTE speeds are like. And of course, they're going to come up with more markets through the year. All right, let's move on to the independent.co.uk. And I got a couple more articles here, and then we're going to talk about the main thing, about the porn thing. Anyway, let's go over here. Imagine that we get into cyborg era. And I think that's what we're doing right now. At least they're going to try it. Scientists have come up with a bionic hand that actually has sensors in the fingertips. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to somehow hook them up to nerves. And when the person grabs at an orange, they're going to feel the texture of the orange. They're going to feel the cold of a soda or the hot of a cup of coffee. They're going to feel things through that hand. And this is what's exciting. This brings us into the actual cyborgism era. Is that a word? I don't know. I just made it up. Cyborgism era. And so they're testing it on an unknown person. They won't release the name. I don't know if it's because of paparazzi or maybe the guy wanted to be anonymous or whatever. So they're going to put it in this guy. I think he's in Switzerland, and he's in Rome. He lost the lower part of his arm following an accident. So they're going to put it on. They're going to test it out and see what happens. The arm could be completely rejected. Or then again, it could be completely successful, and this guy has feeling in certain areas of his hand. It won't be the whole hand. I'm guessing it's just going to be in the fingertips and certain parts of the palm or something like that. But then they're going to test it out and see what, maybe work any kinks out and go from there. My big question, though, is how does it attach to the nerves? Do they have to actually surgically attach it to a nerve, or is this something like you put a cap on, or, like an electrical thing, you put a cap on, screw it tight, and hope it doesn't fall apart? I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see, and I'm definitely going to follow this. What do you think? Do you like this idea? Anybody that lost their arm or leg must be thinking this is something great. Maybe this will help with ghost pains or something like that. Anyway, if you want to check it out, go over to independent.co.uk. And if you want to comment on it, feel free. Geekazine is the Twitter handle. All right, one more article here, and then we'll get you into the main article. And this is really funny. Check this out. Oh, let's back this up just a touch here. There is a group in a senior center in Colorado, and they did the Harlem Shake. Now, the Harlem Shake, really quick, is that thing where one person walks into a room, everybody's just kind of sitting there doing nothing. All of a sudden, he starts dancing. He usually has something over his head, like a horse head or in this case, a motorcycle helmet. He starts dancing, and everybody just keeps going about their business. And they do it to this one song. And then halfway through the song, it breaks. It cuts out video, cuts back into video, and next thing you know, everybody's doing this dance. Well, apparently a senior center in Harlem, or in Colorado, do the Harlem Shake, and I don't think, it's not going to do it for me, because now it's going to go through the sponsor message again. So anyway, I'll put the link into the show notes. You can check it out there and go from there. So, all right, that does it for this part of Geek Smack, the second half of Geek Smack. What'd you like? What you didn't like it? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk about this porn issue and revenge porn. That's kind of scary, and we'll do that right after this. $700 channels. Does your cable company have 700 channels? I don't know. 700 channels, Angry Birds, games, everything else. It's one of the best. I call it one of the best set-top boxes out there, period. It's Roku, and you can get everything, and I think it's a perfect companion if you do have cable, and if you do have things like HBO, because you got HBO Go, and you have a whole bunch of other channels. You can get your Netflix, your Hulu Plus, Amazon, Pandora, Disney, CNET, everything, even Tech Podcast Network, where you get Geek Smack. You can watch me off of Roku easily, and you can do a lot of search. And the best part is, with this remote on the phone, on the iPhone, it's now a full keyboard remote. So if I'm searching for something, I don't have to move over, up, down, up, down. I just type it in like a keyboard. Pretty cool stuff. And that's over at Roku. Go over to geekazine.com/Roku. Geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, that helps me keep the lights on and up and stuff like that. So, and you find some great deals, and nothing is over $100. You can $50 is the lowest Roku. If you want the Angry Birds, it's $100. If you want the new Roku with the HTML support, I don't know if that's out just yet. It's a special little Roku that actually hooks in what looks like an HDMI port, but it's now called HML. We learned about that at CES. You plug it in the HML port, and you can actually watch without having that little hockey puck looking thing sitting in front of you. And no wires or anything like that, so it looks even better. Check it all out. Roku over at geekazine.com/Roku, and check it out and go from there. All right. Let's talk about this really quick. We've seen the paparazzi photos of celebrities that you might not want to see. We know about Brett Favre. We know about Anthony Weiner, Scarlett Johansson, Miley Cyrus, Kanye West, even Prince Harry, with compromising photos and videos out there that came off their phones and somebody sent it into like TMZ or something like that. Now a website owner is taking this camera and the camera's nudity into a new genre, and it's what's called revenge porn. They had a couple other terms for it, but it seems that revenge porn seems to stick a little bit better. His name is Craig Britton. He has a website that I'm not going to repeat because I really don't want you to go to the website. Simple as that. But if you do want to, I'll have a link to Ars Technica, which the original article is on there. Basically, what it is they had Craig Britton was part of a video that was done on CBS4. Now, the concept is you send pictures and he'll post them along with the person's Facebook profile and phone number onto this website. If you want those pictures taken down, simply there's an area called the Takedown Hammer. And with the Takedown Hammer, for $250, your pictures can be removed. So it's a little bit sketchy at first, but there've been a lot of questions in his methods. The Ars Technica article of the CBS4 interview said that they caught him in a lie. According to the victim, he contacted this victim through Craigslist, where they had a back and forth, and then she sent him some photos. He then took those photos, posted it on this website, and also posted the Craigslist article, her Facebook profile, and her phone number. Now, these are a lot of interesting allegations that Britton has not confirmed or denied. In fact, he hasn't been available for comment at all. Britton did say in the CBS interview that there was some protection through Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Now, I could explain it, but what I'll do is I'll put a link in the show notes of what that is, and that'll go to the page that'll talk a little bit more about the Communications Decency Act, which will basically protects people. Like if I was part of Google or something like that and somebody posted some nude pictures, as Google, we don't get in trouble for something that somebody else does. Now, if he lied to get photos, his site should simply be taken down. But we don't know, and that's the problem. The site should be taken down anyway. I just don't like the idea. There's no reason why we need to see the girl next door in front of a mirror with no clothes on. It's also great. I'm not here to make judgments or anything like that. I mean, you do what you want to do, but just be careful of who you send stuff to. That's all I'm saying here. And because if you wind up on websites like that, it gets very interesting, especially when you've got companies. If you're looking to find a job, all of a sudden the boss finds that you're on this website, and these pictures that can change things. So, like I said, I'm not here to say you should take pictures or you shouldn't take pictures on your phone. I personally don't. But if you did take pictures, just be very, very, very guarding over those pictures, and go from there. So, and of course, if you have a problem like that, if you are part of the list and you want to talk about it, please let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or Geekazine@gmail.com. I'm not a big fan of this website. That's why I'm not going to talk about the website name. I don't want you to go there. I don't want you to see who's on it. It's not right. It's disgusting, and especially if that person did not give consent to post those pictures. Simple as that. All right, that's it. We're done. That's it for this episode of Geek Smack. We'll be back next week with another Geek Smack. Do it Tuesday for Wednesday consumption. I've got to go tear down this system now. Hopefully we'll get everything up and running. It looks like we went a little bit longer than usual, but hey, that's okay. We had a lot of cool content to cover. Geekazine is my Twitter handle. Geekazine@gmail.com is the email address, and 608-205-4378 is the phone number. You guys have a great one. You guys geek out, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care.